word.
It's
the United States Constitution would like to have a word. That's why people care.
Yeah,
right?
people care
because
of
the reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the president of the United States from accepting things that are being perceived as bribes.
What is the national interest
The goal of the
trip
is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, and today we have to check out this wild clip from Newsnight with Abby Phillips. And normally it's Scott Jennings in the hot seat, but this time it's none other than Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary, absolutely handing it to these smug, Trump deranged liberals. This is classic projection at its finest. This is the same party, I might add, that's neck deep in shady backdoor deals, gifts, bribes, and kickbacks taken in secret to enrich themselves, while the American people get the short end of the stick. And these are the people now pointing the finger. Please, man. And of course, the legacy media always stays silent. Now, trust me, this is one worth watching. And oh, by the way, do not forget to join us live Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern for one of the sharpest, realest broadcasts in these YouTube streets. Like, share, subscribe. Let's get into it.
According to our reporting, some of the deals going on right now: Saudi Arabia, 2 luxury towers, Live Golf Partnership, Qatar, Golf Club and Villas, UAE, luxury hotel, cryptocurrency deal, Oman, resort and golf project.
And the dinner.
I mean this sincerely. I mean, does it bother you that this is happening at the same time that these nation states are also trying to curry favor with Trump himself?
Well, it doesn't really bother me that people are in business for years, then their dad gets elected president, and then they continue to go on in business. We knew we were electing a businessman president. We knew his family was in business. So I think the American people have full visibility into that. Number two.
But we're talking about new deals here, not existing deals.
Well, they're business people. They're cutting deals all the time.
You're okay with them cutting deals while Trump is sitting in the White House when he's going over there
countries that
to
are
negotiate
actively doing negotiations with
They're negotiating with every country in the world every day. Well, let me answer your question, the specific criticism about Hunter Biden. All the things you just mentioned, towers, golf courses, hotels, resorts, tangible things.
Cryptocurrency and meme coins, Scott, don't forget those.
You do something, money exchanges hands, a service is provided, a tower is built, a golf course is developed. Can you name one tangible service other than finger paintings that Hunter Biden provided for any money to change hands?
I do think that is a fair critique of
that's
the
not
Hunter.
that.
I think it's a fair critique of the Hunter Biden of it all.
That's not apples to apples.
But you're not addressing the fact that in all of these countries, in order to do any of these things, they have to go to the political leadership of the countries to get them approved. That doesn't address that at all.
Abby, at 10:07, Scott was telling me how the biggest modern day conspiracy we've had in terms of a president scandal was Joe Biden and his health. And he said that, and then he criticized Chuck Schumer, right, about the fact that he didn't have any character because he didn't stand up to it. But at 10:27, 10:28, the argument has changed, because what we do know is that there is a $400 million jet from Qatar. What we do know is that there is a $5.5 million golf course in Qatar. What we do know is what Syria is offering Donald Trump. And what we do know is that the things that are happening in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, buying meme coins that mean absolutely nothing. The fact is, and I would love for Scott to be able to answer this question, but for the fact, and that's when I didn't really do well in law school, but I remember but for the fact Donald Trump is president of the United States, none of this would happen. And so that is what you call a kleptocracy. And so when you have children, and no, and 1 second, Kevin, because you wanted to talk about Kevin O'Leary, you wanted to talk about Kamala Harris being mediocre. Donald Trump Jr. and what's the other one? Eric are the definition of what mediocre is. And what I'm saying is that now they are reaping the benefits of their father.
Different direction?
Please.
Just for a moment, please.
No, guide me.
Before Kevin O'Leary goes, I want to say this. Where was this smoke for the Biden family? Where was this smoke for Hunter, for Joe Biden's brother, for Jill, for his other family members that have, oh my goodness, they've reaped the benefit. not only of the presidency, but also, of his of Joe Biden's status while he was, a senator as well as vice president. No smoke, crickets. No one wants to talk about it. All of a sudden, Trump gets into office. They're making some deals. And I would assume that it's not President Donald J. Trump making these deals. This is Don Jr. and his brother, who are a part of their father's business. And the last time I checked, it's not illegal for them to do business. They're speculating and making, assumptions that this is a quid pro quo type situation, but they don't know this. But what we do know about Hunter Biden, he sold some really trash paintings for millions of dollars. That we do know. And I agree with Scott Jennings. These are tangible situations, what they're talking about here. But if I'm not mistaken, the president is not involved in the negotiations when it comes to, some of these real estate projects that they have going on out there. These people are so hypocritical and so one-sided. They just show us every day, man. The Trump derangement syndrome with these people is just unbelievable, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm blind.
What does this have to do with Middle East policy? Please, just a moment.
Oh, no,
What,
please.
excuse me.
Oh, yes,
what does
excuse
this
me.
have to do with the fact that he is trying to create a circle of friendship with the fastest growing geographies in the world before China does?
But wait a second.
Wait, let me finish.
Well,
on this trip,
on this
I just want to introduce an idea. This has nothing to do with policy.
Go ahead. I'm locked in.
What does this have to do with policy?
The one thing that I've heard for the last 4 or 5 years is anytime anyone had any criticism of the United States foreign policy in Gaza or whatever, is that these people would be being paid by a resource-rich government that propped up and funded terrorism, which was over in Qatar. Every single time. They were buying influence in Ivy League schools. They were buying influence in social media. They were buying influence everywhere. So anytime you saw somebody
You want to push these countries away.
that you were
wanna
saying
push
that
these-
anytime somebody was thought to have any dealings with the Qataris, they were thought as being intellectually and morally tainted. Except the President of the United States, who takes a $400 million plane from them, literally is refurbishing it to be Air Force.
Who cares about the plane? What does that have to do with the fact?
Because it's
Wait a second.
Because it's
You know what?
If you
I
don't get it. Why focus on something that is irrelevant to the policy
It's
of
not
the region?
irrelevant.
It's completely irrelevant.
How is it irrelevant?
Would you rather have the Chinese there? Would you rather have them there?
Kevin, the United States Constitution
irrelevant.
would like to have a word. The United States Constitution would like to have a word. That's why people care.
Yeah,
right?
people care
because
because
the
of the
reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the president of the United States from accepting things
what's
that
the
are
goal
being
of the trip?
that are being perceived
What's the
as
goal?
as bribes.
What is the national
The
interest
goal of the
this
trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have
That's
to
not-
distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
What matters
Kevin.
is, why are all these AI guys
Have
on this
you
trip?
heard of the emoluments
Scott's
clause?
the only one he
Wait.
doesn't
Why do you have
you
all
heard,
the leaders?
Kevin, no,
of-
seriously, it's a serious question.
different about
Have you
him?
heard of the emoluments clause? Do you understand that that is in the Constitution?
He doesn't. No.
No,
And
listen,
do you
I-
understand that
I
even if
don't-
you
I
think
don't-
that maybe it might be
debating how many
okay,
fairies
it's
dance on a
still-
pin
it's
does
still
not do
legally
policy.
incredibly dubious.
So let me ask you a
realize
question.
That, right?
So can
Hold
I?
on,
So,
but
I'm sorry.
hold on.
I'm
Let
hearing
me
you.
just. But Kevin doesn't operate by the same morals and ethics and values that we're
I'm
talking
above
about.
that. I focus
because
on
you're
policy.
so rich, you get to be above it. That's
It's
so
nothing to
lovely.
do with wealth. It's policy.
No, but here's the point about the policy. Let me make one point, fellas. Whew. If someone is willing to take a $400 million plane from a government, that the kinds of things that Van was talking about, people have, even Ted Cruz had some issues with this. What else is he willing to do? And Scott, you're talking about these tangible things. Meme coins
they're
are
business people.
Meme coins are not tangible. They're nothing. Cryptocurrency is nothing. There is a bidding war going on right now with governments and countries and companies. We have no idea what their alignments are to buy enough meme coins to buy access to our
There
president.
is a story tonight in the New York Times about a very mysterious company that bought hundreds of millions of dollars
With
worth of
links to
Trump
China.
meme coins with links to
I think-
China.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, there are
Go
some
ahead.
real questions
The
and
emo-
concerns
the-
about the money that is
The
being
emoluments,
made here.
The emoluments thing you raised, I mean, it's a good question. It's a legitimate debating point, and I assume it'll ultimately be tested in court. The administration has a point of view on it. I assume they're going to be sued, or I don't know how you would get it into court on this, but my assumption is ultimately the Supreme Court is the only people who can give us some arbitration on this. So I assume that's where it's headed.
Okay, so let's talk about the Constitution real fast. According to the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, also known as Emolument Clause, no president or federal official can accept gifts, payments, or titles from any foreign government without the approval of Congress. And in plain English, if a foreign king, prince, or government tries to give the president a gift or money, they can't keep it unless Congress says it's okay. It's meant to stop bribery, influence, and corruption. So when you hear, talk about politicians getting foreign gifts, this is the rule that they're supposed to follow. Now, what we do know is none of this came up during the Biden administration. None of this came up during Biden's tenure, as vice president, and anytime somebody tried to broach the subject, it immediately got quashed. It was squashed immediately. Again, it's rules for thee, not for me. Now, I don't know much about this plane situation other than the fact that, Qatar wants to gift, this super expensive $400 million plane to the United States to replace Air Force One. Now, Abby made the insinuation that they're going to give it, to the United States to replace Air Force One, but when President Trump leaves office, he's actually going to take the plane. If that happens, I can't say that I agree with that. I just can't. I can't say that I agree with it. And for the sake of optics, I do think that this is something that Congress should have a say in, as well as the Supreme Court. I'm with Scott Jennings there, for the sake of optics. We don't want to be in a situation where we're doing what the Democrats do, where, they'll do something and then say that, it's either not that or you can't do that. So I'm okay with the gift as long as the proper measures are taken. I'm okay with that. But the fact that these people are having a tissy fit about this, and one, we haven't received the gift yet, and two, we don't know, if this is going to go through Congress or if this is going to go through the Supreme Court. And I'm with Kevin O'Leary here. China is investing and buying up a lot. They're all throughout Africa. Right now, it's happening. They're all throughout Africa. They just bought a port out in Ghana. This is happening. And China, who would like to be the world's #1 superpower, they are out here spreading their tentacles all around the daggone globe, and we got to get in front of it if we want to maintain ourselves as the #1 world superpower in full control. We have to do something. And doing deals and business deals with over in the Middle East, and if we can do anything, to help build those areas up and eliminate the fear of war in that area, which we all know that has been one of the most volatile areas in the world for a long time. If we can do anything to do that, to negate that, it's a plus, not only for America, but for the world in general. But I want to hear what you guys think about this in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, or if you'd like to support the channel another way, buy your man a coffee. That link's in the description box below. Come join us at 9:30 a.m. EST for one of the, just livest, sharpest, truthful broadcasts, out here in these YouTube streets, man. We'd love to see you. And if you do show up and it's your first time joining a live stream and joining a live broadcast, please let me know in the chat so I can show you some love. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so